What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today I'm going to talk about the $1,400 fourth stimulus check, talk versus reality. And the first thing that I want to do is I want to go to a comment, and I get probably at least 10 comments a day asking me the same question. So let's go ahead and go to this comment. Okay, so Maria has a question here, and thank you for posting your question, Maria. Is there really going to be a stimulus check or not? I check most talk shows, and I'm assuming she's talking about YouTube, but you seem to be the only honest one. I started listening to you a couple of weeks ago. So thank you, Maria. Thank you for your support. I appreciate that. And we're going to talk about this in this video when it comes to the fourth stimulus check, this $1,400 stimulus check. And we're going to talk about the reality. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell notification and then click all. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. We put out daily videos. So if you click all, you should be getting notified every day. All right. So let's talk a little bit about this. Let's talk about this $1,400 forced stimulus check that is being talked about. You still see people on YouTube talking about it, and there are even news articles that are coming out about it. Now, I've talked about this. I've been talking about this for a year. And one thing I want to mention before we get started, anytime I put this title in the video, in the thumbnail, I always have people in the comments. They don't watch the video. They just ask me, when is this stimulus check coming? And so they're not even watching the content, and they're going straight to the comment section. If you see someone in the comment section asking when is the stimulus check coming, the fourth stimulus check, put cheesecake. Respond to them and just put cheesecake. I think it would be funny, and I'm going to be looking at the comments to see how many people don't even watch my videos, and they're asking me when this fourth stimulus check is coming. Because if they watch my videos, they would know the situation because I would explain that to them. But anyway, let's talk about this. So let's talk about why the federal government is not going to be issuing any stimulus checks anytime soon, okay? The reason for this is because of inflation. And we've been talking about this for a while. Right now, our economy is on fire. We have people that are spending a lot of money, okay? Now, it might not be you. You might be looking at inflation. I can't spend this money. I'm saving. I'm trying to just manage with what I have. But there are people out there that are spending money, and they're still driving inflation, okay? And so that is the main reason why they're not going to stimulate the economy even more with stimulus checks. The only way we'd be in a situation where they would look to stimulus checks is if they want us to spend more. Right now, they don't want us to spend more, and that's why you see the Federal Reserve raising interest rates. They're doing that because they're trying to cool off the economy because people are spending too much money. And so that right there is telling us there's not going to be another stimulus check, no time soon. And so let me just give you I'll give you this example, and hopefully this will make sense. Because if they were to issue out stimulus checks right now, this could happen. And I think the housing market is the easiest to understand. At least for me, it's the easiest to understand. I can kind of picture what's going on there a lot better than if I'm just telling you, price of eggs is going up. Let's say everyone in America was able to get $10,000 to buy a house. So if everyone in America was able to get $10,000 to buy a house, guess what? House prices would go up by $10,000, maybe even $20,000. Automatically. Why? Because people have the money to put into that house. They have that $10,000 to put into the house. So automatically, the price value of a house is going to go up by $10,000. We saw this when it came to the $7,500, the credit for buying electric vehicles. That was in the legislation just a few months back. Guess what? Cars, electric vehicles went up by $7,500, at least some, not all. And we're talking about new cars. And some of the manufacturers said, well, we had to raise the price because of inflation. And that's what they're always going to say, right? They're going to go to inflation and say that. But you get this credit for $7,500, and then the price of cars go up by $7,500. And so that's how things work. And so if we were to see a $1,400 stimulus check, guess what? Things would go up. They might not go up by $1,400, of course, but prices of things will go up because people have more money to spend. And corporations know that. And if they know that, they're going to hike the prices up. And that's where we get more inflation. And so it actually, in the situation that we're in right now, it would probably be a bad thing to have stimulus checks go out. And I know saying this, there's going to be some people that are going to be upset. But look, I like to give you guys the honest truth. And that's why politicians aren't talking about stimulus checks anymore. Because they know if they talk about stimulus checks and they move forward with a stimulus check and inflation goes up even higher, well, now they're looking at it, now their job could be on the line, right? And so that's the main reason why they're not looking at stimulus checks. But let me tell you the good news when it comes to this whole situation, because there is some good news. Right now, the Federal Reserve is pushing us into a recession. And we don't know how deep that recession is going to go. But I can tell you how the federal government works. They use tax credits, and that's what the stimulus check was. Stimulus check was a tax credit advanced to you early, okay? They use tax credits in order to get the American people to do what they want them to do, okay? And I talked about rich people buying private jets, and they're getting these tax write-offs. Well, the federal government wants these rich people to buy jets. Why? Because not too many people can afford to buy a jet. And if you can't afford to buy a jet, they want you to buy the jet. Buying a jet is not something that is, it's nice to have, but it costs a lot of money to upkeep. And so a lot of people who are wealthy, they're not really too interested in buying a private jet. They can fly first class. They can rent a jet when they need it, but it's not something that's a necessity for them. Now, if you're a business owner, you need to fly a lot to get around the country, then maybe it makes sense. But in most situations, it's more cost efficient if you don't have a private jet, if you just rent out a private jet when you need one. So it's almost like a boat, a yacht, it's the same thing. It's what do they say about yachts? I don't know the exact phrase, but it's good to have a friend who has a yacht, but not have your own yacht, because you can go and enjoy the yacht with them, but you don't have to pay for all the upkeep. So when it comes to stimulus checks, getting back to that, the federal government, if we fall into a deep recession, the federal government is going to have to jumpstart our economy again and get people spending again. And so what that's going to mean is more tax credits. Okay, so, and that's something that we haven't, we can argue right now if we're in a recession, we could say we're in a recession, but we're not in a deep recession. If we fall into a deep recession and people start losing their homes and people start losing their jobs, well, we're going to have to, because people they're going to stop spending, right? Because that's the whole goal of the Federal Reserve, is to cool off our economy by telling people, or by raising interest rates so people won't spend as much. So if we get to that point where we fall into a deep recession, at some point, the federal government is going to need to jumpstart our economy. And the way you jumpstart the economy is by getting people to spend again. And that's what we saw in the pandemic. That's the reason for the stimulus checks, because we had to pretty much freeze our economy. And people weren't spending, people weren't going out, they weren't doing anything. And so that's why those stimulus checks came in. Those stimulus checks came in to help the American people, but also to stimulate the economy so they can start spending. And it worked. It worked because we started spending, but we're continuing to spend, and now inflation is just continuing to rise. And so I just wanted to put this video out just to talk about that, because when you're watching these other YouTubers or watching other people talk about stimulus checks and they're telling you that they're coming next month or next week or what have you, it's not reality. If we were to see another stimulus check, it probably won't be for another 2 years, I would say. Because if we fall into a deep recession, first off, it's going to take time for us to fall from a recession into a deep recession. And then it's going to take time for Congress to work out how do we get out of this, and then they might move forward with something like that. Okay, and it'll be help for businesses as well as help for the American people. So like I said, I wanted to put this out because I always get this question. At least 10 people ask me this in every video that I put out. And so it's good for me every so often to at least talk about it. That way, if they're watching my videos on a regular basis, they'll see the video and they'll say, okay, yes, I understand now, and I won't continue to ask you about a forced stimulus check. So that's all I have for you guys. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.